fabled heat, where magic meets desire. Subscribe to ignite the fantasy.
The flickering candlelight painted shadows on Ren's face, making her look even more like a mischievous imp than usual. Her eyes, usually sharp and calculating, softened as I slid the small tin across the table. Peppermints, her weakness. "1 tin," I said, keeping my voice low, the words barely audible above the hum of the crowded tavern. "For everything you know about the Shadow Syndicate's movements tonight." Ren snatched the tin, her fingers brushing mine. A jolt, unexpected and unwelcome, shot up my arm. Magic. I hadn't felt that surge in years, not since I'd buried that part of myself. I suppressed a grimace. Dealing with Ren was proving to be far more complicated than I'd anticipated. "Everything," she purred, popping a peppermint into her mouth. The scent of mint and something wilder, something untamed, filled the air. It was a strangely alluring combination, as was Ren herself. She was an enigma, this informant. Scrawny, with tangled black hair that framed a face both delicate and dangerous, she seemed to exist in the underbelly of this city like a wraith, knowing secrets no one else could touch, and I desperately needed those secrets. "Everything relevant," I corrected. "Their target, their numbers, their escape route." Ren leaned back, the shadows dancing across her high cheekbones. "And if I don't deliver, then the peppermints stop coming." It was a hollow threat, and we both knew it. I needed her more than she needed me, at least for now. My kingdom depended on rooting out the Shadow Syndicate before they could plunge it into chaos. "Tusk, Cazamir," she said, her voice dripping with amusement. "You wound me. I'm a professional. Information is my currency." I narrowed my eyes. "And what else is your currency, Ren?" "Loyalty, because I haven't seen much evidence of that." She chuckled, a low, throaty sound that sent another shiver down my spine. Gods, I hated how she affected me. I'd faced down armies, negotiated with dragons, but this slip of a girl was turning my stomach into knots. "Loyalty is a luxury I can't afford," she said, her eyes clouding over for a moment, a glimpse of vulnerability quickly masked. "But I give my word, the Syndicate is targeting the Golden Stag tonight. They believe it holds a valuable artifact. The Golden Stag, the most opulent gambling den in the city, frequented by nobles and merchants alike. And I suspected a front for something far more sinister. The artifact," Ren shrugged. "Rumor has it it's a relic from the old magic capable of, well, the rumors vary from granting immortality to raising the dead. And how many? 20 give or take, heavily armed, they'll hit at midnight." I nodded, mentally mapping out the stag's interior, the likely escape routes. "Thank you, Ren. Don't thank me yet, your majesty." The words hung in the air, heavy with unspoken meaning. I stared at her, searching her face for any sign that she knew. My secret was a burden I carried alone, a prince in hiding, posing as a commoner, trying to protect his kingdom from the shadows. "What did you say?" I growled. She just smirked, licking the peppermint dust from her fingers. "Pleasure doing business with you, and don't forget the peppermints." I left the tavern with a storm brewing inside me. Ren knew, but how, and why hadn't she exposed me? Was she playing me? Using me for some hidden agenda? The thought was infuriating. Midnight arrived like a predator. The Golden Stag glittered with oblivious revelers. I moved through the crowd, a shadow among shadows, my hand never straying far from the sword hidden beneath my cloak. I spotted the Syndicate's advance team, 3 hulking figures near the entrance, their faces grim and determined. Ren's information was accurate. So far, the attack began swiftly and brutally. The Syndicate stormed the casino, weapons drawn, silencing the cacophony of laughter and clinking glasses with screams of terror. I moved, a whirlwind of steel, cutting down attackers with ruthless efficiency. I wasn't just protecting the artifact, I was protecting the innocent caught in the crossfire, but something wasn't right. The Syndicate's movements were clumsy, almost staged. They weren't here for the relic, they were a distraction. That's when I saw her. Ren standing in the shadows near the back entrance, her eyes fixed on a small, unassuming chest tucked beneath a table. She wasn't after the rumored artifact, she was after something far more valuable. I pushed my way through the chaos, adrenaline coursing through my veins. "Ren, what are you doing?" She didn't flinch, her fingers already working the lock on the chest. "Getting what I came for, Cazamir." The chest clicked open, revealing not some magical relic, but a stack of documents bound in leather. "What is this?" "The truth," she said, her eyes gleaming with triumph. "The truth about your family, about the kingdom, about the old magic you thought you had buried." Suddenly the room began to shake. A low rumble filled the air, growing louder with each passing second. The chandeliers swayed, throwing wild shadows across the panicked faces of the patrons. The air crackled with energy. "Ren, what's happening?" I demanded, gripping her arm. She pulled away, a strange smile playing on her lips. "The magic is awakening, Cazamir. It always does, eventually." And then the ground beneath us split open, revealing a chasm of darkness. From the depths rose a surge of raw power, a wave of energy that threatened to consume everything. I instinctively reached for Ren, pulling her close, shielding her from the blast, but the energy wasn't destructive, it was transformative. It flowed into me, awakening something dormant within my very soul. I felt power surge through me, ancient and untamed, magic, the old magic. And as I looked into Ren's eyes, I saw the same awakening reflected back at me. She wasn't just an informant, she was something more, something connected to the magic, to the syndicate, to me. You knew this would happen, I said, my voice hoarse. She nodded. I knew, but I didn't know you would be the one. The one what, Ren? What am I? Before she could answer, a figure emerged from the shadows, tall and imposing, with eyes that burned like embers. He locked eyes with Ren. It is time, he growled. Come home. Ren hesitated, her gaze flickering between the man and me. I can't. The man's face hardened. You made a promise. He turned his gaze to me. And as for you, your highness, your fate has been sealed. Prepare yourself. Then, before I could react, he unleashed a wave of dark energy, sending me crashing backwards into the chasm. As darkness closed in around me, I saw Ren's face, a mixture of fear and regret. Cazamir, she cried, reaching out her hand. I'm sorry. And then everything went black. When I finally surfaced, the world was different. I could feel the old magic thrumming in my veins, waiting to be unleashed. Ren was gone, and I knew with chilling certainty that the war for my kingdom had just begun. And Ren, the cute but creepy informant with a penchant for peppermints, was somehow at the very heart of it all.